What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another weekly update. Sorry I missed last week. It was honestly just a very, very crazy week at work. I didn't have time to play much, and I didn't have any time to record either, so I decided I'll just push it a week, and that'll be that. So, might not be the last time. Translation, it won't be the last time, but, you know, I'll try to avoid that. Anyways, let's get started. So, what's new? I don't even remember what all I showed last time, but hopefully this is all new. I spent an assload of time making a bunch of nichrome. So now I have 4 nichrome EBFs. I also upgraded the power for the EBFs. I might have already shown you guys this. If I did, sorry again. But yeah, I have 2 EV power EBFs now that I can run, or I can run all 4 at HV, or 1 at EV and 3 at, you know, I can do that. But 2 is my current max. So I got that. Currently making aluminum and stainless steel. So I'm gearing up to make, well, I guess I'll show you what all I'm making in a little bit here. In addition to that, a thing that took forever was making TPV alloy coil blocks. I have 16 of them now. Again, I might have already shown you this. If I did, sorry. But yeah, that's the next tier electric blast furnace. So I got that. I'm not currently using them just because if I put them in there, then it breaks the other ones and I can only run 1 EBF at a time, so no bueno. That's that done, that's that done. The next thing I did was for building, because I'm finding building to be a bit of a bottleneck for me, so I'm trying to take steps to make getting the materials easier. I basically rigged up a very simple rudimentary lave, whatever this is called, lave maybe, block automation. So essentially the fluid solidifier is always making snow blocks. I just use my AE2 system to suck them up into the system, the snow blocks, that is. Then over here, I have an export bus where I put the, oh, alarm's going off. Where I put my snow into the compressor, it compresses it into ice, and then the ice gets imported back into the AE2 system. So in essence, it's really just an ice automation, but yeah, see I have 244 ice now, and then I take that and I'm just manually crafting it into the lathe using Z-tone tiles, which is also not quite automated, but maybe soon to be automated. Reason being, I need a lot of these blocks for the floor of the PDIM build. So that's now automated. And then another fun little automation I made that I probably should have made a very long time ago. I built myself an advanced arc furnace, which it's been a long time. So if you remember, that was this thingy. I made this like well over a year ago, I'm pretty sure, but it's the better version of this. It's just like a furnace, but more power. Basically, same deal with the AE2. I have an import bus where, well, that's the output actually. Oh yeah, I guess I just did it manually. So basically, I just put a bunch of sand in here, and then it gets sucked into here. Sand with an MV arc furnace and oxygen can be converted into 2 glass. So 1 sand equals 2 glass, and then the glass gets pulled back up and then sent to the AE2 system. So I got a couple of half automations there, basically, but even the half automations save a lot of time. As a result, I now have 894 glass, and I could easily make way, way more. I would just need to get more sand, but I threw it all in there. So that is now a thing that's happening as well. And then as far as actual progression, I did a bit of grinding, because I was, last week, 2 weeks ago, last episode, I was getting the tungsten steel. I finally got the tungsten steel. I don't remember if I did that on camera or not, but I do, in fact, have it. A good, well, I won't say a good bit. An amount. I have an amount of tungsten steel ingots, 18 here. I've already used 5 of them as well to make rods, which is for the nuclear stuff, which is pretty much ready to go, but I don't yet have a reason to actually assemble it, so we're not doing nuclear today. But I made all that because I was trying to determine if I wanted to rush to Mars or not. So I essentially just went down the quest line a little bit, wanted to explore what was required, what all I needed. So there's some chemical stuff here, kind of annoying, not too bad. Making these epoxid sheets was kind of a pain in the ass. Took a long time, but you need those to make advanced circuit boards. It's very much like the other circuit board line, except epoxid, like I said, and so that's like a lot of chemical stuff. I should probably automate this. I have a feeling I'm going to need a ton of them. And then you also needed to make nano component central processing units, which is a wafer, which you get with glowstone and rock carbon fiber and CPUs and all this. So it's just, you know, more circuit crap. You know, it's unavoidable. But yeah, to get to Mars, I needed to do all of that and then make some of these crazy, crazy circuits. I think these are LUV, right? Yeah. So I was investigating all of that. The real bottleneck here is, so I went through all of that work to get the TPV alloy upgrade for the EBF. Took forever, like several hours getting that together. It's like, okay, cool, we finally did it, just grinded it out. And then the first thing you have to do with it is upgraded again into this HSSG stuff, which is another blast furnace upgrade. And this, you can only make the dust with a buttload of tungsten steel dust, chrome, molybdenum, and vanadium. This was very demoralizing to me, I'm gonna be honest, because literally the TPV, I was so glad to be done with it. And then here I go again, needing to do it all over again, but way harder this time. So for now, I still haven't decided what I'm gonna really do. In the short term, I'm just trying to automate things that need to be automated to make my life a little bit better. I think the secret to continuing in Gregtech and not going insane is to just make everything easy that you can make easy. So that's been my focus. In the meantime, whenever I do progress, I'm going to need a lot of tungsten steel, clearly. So my options are either do a ton of end-stone processing, which I'm not super interested in, or, all reliable, I could do bees. I could get myself a tungsten princess, and then that creates tungsten combs, which you can put with phthalic acid and get tungsten. So this would be much like the titanium thing that I did. Getting the actual bee, I don't think should be crazy hard. It's just titanium, aluminum. I have both of these, so making the manganese wouldn't be too hard. I have Valiant. I don't have Steadfast or Heroic. So it'd be a little bit of work, but then I would have a bunch of tungsten, and from there, I think it would actually be pretty simple to make HSSG. But doing the end stone route is super slow. I have to hand mine all the end stone because you can automate it with crops, but I am decidedly not doing crops with this run. So those are my options. I might just do the tungsten bee, honestly. It seems like it's the way. Unlike the titanium bee, there isn't a huge cost to actually getting the tungsten out of it. It's just the phthalic acid. But once you have the dust to combine it with the steel or whatever, you literally just mix it, you know. So it's the same exact price as if I were to do the endstone. Actually, a lot cheaper than the endstone. I think I'm talking myself into it. I'm probably going to do the tungsten bee because then life will be easy. And another fun benefit of it, it also gives molybdenum as a side product, which I need as well. So I guess maybe I've talked myself into it just then. I might just go ahead and do that. But once I've got that, then all the circuit stuff, well, there's a lot to do with the circuit stuff, because I'm going to have to do the EV circuit assembler, which will have to upgrade my clean room for. I think that's all that I'd have to do for that, which will be a little bit of effort, but probably not too horrible. And I should probably have my EV power set up reliably by that point. I don't know. There's a lot to figure out. This is the first stage where I'm definitely like having to make big decisions and I'm not super confident in them. But we'll see, because once I do get that tungsten steel pretty reliably, I can then start making the Lapatronic superconductor. See, the thing with nuclear, I don't really feel like I should do the full nuclear reactor setup until I have a Lapatronic superconductor, because I'm assuming that this is going to use a lot of resources all the time whenever I have to recycle the thorium. Maybe not, but I'm assuming that I do. And I don't want to waste that energy output to just have, you know, the 6 amps or whatever. Like, I wanted to store a lot of it, ideally. Oh, I can actually look. Okay, so once it depletes, I get the fuel rods back, thankfully. 2 thorium back. I don't know what I can do with thorium 232, but I guess I get that. Krypton, I think that's the thing that I need. Okay, yeah, so I get back basically none of the thorium, as I figured was going to be the case. That's going to be fun to figure out. I say fun sarcastically, but anyways, so I'm going to need a lot of thorium. So yeah, I don't want to waste the power in essence. So Lapatronic superconductor is pretty high on the list. Although at the same time, my whole plan was to use thorium in the short term until I could upgrade to the stab alloy wada blang blah. Extreme Entity Crusher. What are we looking at there? Sorry, this episode is gonna suck. I apologize. I'm literally just figuring out my life. I gotta yap sometimes. Otherwise, I don't know what I'm doing. Extreme Entity Crusher. EV circuits. Okay, I can do that. None of that looks too bad. Steel. Okay, so I could make this whenever. So now I just need a way to power it. I could probably power it with this setup for a little bit. Maybe I should pivot to the Extreme Entity Crusher first. Anyways, build update. Nothing that pretty to see as far as the update goes for this episode. I haven't done a whole lot over here because I'm just working on getting the resources. But over here, I have put a lot of floor down, a few stacks, well, several stacks, a few chunks worth of lave. And this area over here, I know it looks flat and lazy. It is a little bit that. But this is going to be the main place, the main point, I guess. This is going to be both power production and also the big AE2 controller block, multi-block thing once I have the need for that. And then everything will path out from here, go down the hallways, and then power each individual room as one would hope and expect. But I figured I needed a centralized area, so I put it down here. The base will kind of go out this direction and like this direction, but then this part will always just be like power and the AE2 stuff. So that's the plan. This is why I had all the lathe automated. It's kind of a lot. It might not look like a whole lot, but it is. Each chunk is 4 stacks, so 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 24, 28. You know, it's a lot of stacks, but so that's going on there. But my real goal right now, my big dream, is I want to automate circuits with AE2, which is just going to require a lot of machines, but I don't want to do it here in the overworld since I'm going to be moving anyways. So my goal right now is to get power to the PDIM, get a battery to store that power so I can start doing actual permanent automation stuff, which will be very epic. The Lapatronic superconductor is mostly gated just by needing a lot of tungsten steel as far as I can tell. So yeah, I think the next steps for me in the immediate is to make the tungsten bee. So I'm gonna do that now, or try to. Anyways, be right back, hopefully. Well guys, I was in the middle of working on getting this manganese bee, and I have an ocular migraine coming on. I just cannot seem to catch a break recently. But it's very fun, very cool. Love this life that I live, you know. It's very obnoxious. I hate making crappy quality stuff, but you know, what are you gonna do, I guess, when your brain wants to not let you see for a few hours? So we're gonna wrap this one up, I suppose, but I have a plan figured out now. What's up, guys? It's now been another week. That's right, this is gonna be a 3-week episode. Well, I missed the first week, so not technically, but yeah, anyways. So I don't know how I edited it, but yeah, I did have a migraine at the end of the last recording session, which kind of sucked, which made that recording really, really short, and I thought it would suck, so I didn't want to make it a full video, so I waited another week, but you know, longer episode, I guess. Whatever, it's fine. Okay, so let's see, what do I have to show off? Probably quite a bit. I've been playing a lot this week. When we last spoke, I decided that I was going to try to get the tungsten bee, because that would make it a lot easier to get tungsten steel and, you know, just progress and whatnot and all that sort of stuff. So now you can see I have a tungsten queen. Oh my god. They're making combs. I have quite a few of them, actually. 2 stacks and then a little bit left over there as well. And boy, that was a process. You see, the tungsten queen requires manganese and heroic. And manganese was pretty easy to make. It's just aluminum and titanium. I bred those together. It's pretty quick. Manganese, basically a useless bee on its own, but that's fine. As for the other side, this is where the real pain in my butthole started. You need Steadfast and Valiant. Already had Valiant from previous excursions, endeavors. But Steadfast I did not have. Steadfast is the weird one that you can't really get, except for some really unlikely looting of particular hives or whatever. So I bought it from the Coins tab. You can see it here. It requires quite a lot, actually. 4 blocks of emerald, 32 royal jelly. Don't care about either of these, really. But 10 of these, the Beekeeper 10 coins. I did not have a whole lot of these. So I bought it the first time, got my Steadfast drone. It just gives you 1 Steadfast drone. So I got it, and then I was breeding it together. Got 3 generations in, completely lost the Steadfast gene. So that made me very angry because I didn't have enough coins to do this, and I didn't have a backup, so I didn't roll it back or anything because I'm just an honest man, I guess. Or I just didn't think about it, but you know, either way. So I had to get some more coins, which led to me making the Apiarist chest and then the Apiarist backpack, which I don't, maybe this did give me enough or something. I don't know. I ended up not having enough, so I had to do even more. Eventually, I did the Kill All the Things quest, the Wasp one. This one here, you kill the little nether wasps, these little jackasses, and it gives you a few. This was really annoying, but I made it happen because I'm awesome. But anyways, eventually I did get the Steadfast drone. I have a bunch of them now, so the speed is good. We've got it now. Made the heroic, did that, which makes chocolate, I guess, so that's pretty cool. And then eventually got the tungsten. So that was the bee stuff. It was a very familiar story, as all of the other bee breeding that I've done. This is all my queens now, along with 1, 2, 3, 4. I've got a little collection going. And then the tungsten queen predictably makes tungsten combs, and then also molybdenum combs as the special, which I am getting because they are jubilant. Is that the word? I think that's the word. Anyways, so I have both of these now. Molybdenum is useful as well, so I'm glad to have that. But then there was a little bit of an oopsie moment in this process where I forgot you had to have a block of tungsten underneath it. I didn't have enough tungsten for that, so I centrifuged my tungsten steel to get that separated, and then as for actually making the tungsten bars, or ingots, excuse me, it took 500 seconds per operation, and I needed 9, so that was quite a long time. I didn't really have any way to speed that up. Yeah, I used 2, because I had the 2 EV blast furnaces. They were both running at the same time. It took a long time, but we eventually got it. Did that, so that was unpleasant, but what are you going to do? Got steadfast, long tungsten. So then I was finally ready to go, and tragedy struck once again when, as usual, I did not read what I need. This requires IV power to make the tungsten combs useful. So this was the majority of my week, this little oopsie, but I did conquer it because, again, I'm awesome. Thus began the side quest of making 2 EV energy hatches so that I could overclock into IV. These were a little annoying to make. Previously, they were locked behind these extreme voltage coils, which requires tungsten steel, but I did eventually... I mean, now that I had that, that wasn't that big of a deal. Just made a few more tungsten steel. But then the other weird side quest within this side quest was these 2 power ICs. You have to cut PIC wafers with EV power. Making the PIC wafers to begin with, I just had to make a new lens type, but that was fine. I already had everything for that. For getting the EV power, I did not really want to upgrade my clean room diode and all that stuff. I tried using, this is a 4 amp HV diode. I tried just putting the machine right on top of this so that it would pump all 4 amps of HV into it. It was losing power in the middle of the operation. I think that's because the operation would sometimes require 2 amps and sometimes 1. Like it would just barely go over the threshold and eventually just wasn't enough. So, but in the end, I just put the cutting machine down here. I made a cutting machine, by the way. And then I brought the existing EV battery thingy in here and just put it right next to it. So not a permanent solution by any means, but I only needed to cut like 1 thing for what I was doing at the time, so cut that up. Yeah, pretty elegant solution, if I say. Elegant may be the wrong word, but it worked. I got these 2 small Cenarium batteries from a loot bag, by the way, so they're just like extra EV batteries as far as I can tell. But anyways, that's how I got the power ICs, and the rest of it was pretty typical stuff I've done a bunch of times before. And I had my EV energy hatches. So then finally, the actual process looked like this. I removed those 2 bits, put down my EV energy hatches. Let me take this out so it doesn't try to automatically do it when it's not ready. Make sure that the power is not connected. It's not. And I took my 16X aluminum cables, which I've been trying to mass produce a good bit of because they only lose 1 EU per meter. Took it from the battery, which is just in the same spot it's always been. Precariously moved it over the top of HV power. Hopefully those never touch or it would be a very bad day. And I just connect it all up, basically, like so. And now, obviously, I don't have enough power infrastructure to actually run this consistently, but for a few random operations here and there, I do have enough. So let me go and get my phthalic acid. I have a backup ready because I'm always afraid of doing this, but it should be fine. We'll put it in, got the combs in there, and we're making purified tungsten ore. So yeah, it just kind of works. This is my first usage of IV power ever. Feels like a bit of a milestone, I suppose. It was a little involved, but got it done. So that's 4 amps of EV coming out. Quite a lot of power. 6,700-ish EU per tick at peak. So, you know, nothing to scoff at. It does use a lot of phthalic acid, so I've simultaneously been putting endless amounts of coal through my tiny automation down here of making the coal tar oil, which then goes into sulfuric coal tar oil, and then with lithium and naphthalene, and this is the line basically, but I haven't fully automated it yet. Probably will before long. Seems like a good idea. But yeah, as you can see, I mean, I can actually run this for a good little bit of time. It'll take a long time for it to build back up this power supply, but it will get there eventually. And it looks like I might actually have enough phthalic acid to do all of this right now, so that would be kind of big. But each one of these is 1 tungsten, which combined with a steel makes 2 tungsten steel. So you're basically looking at, what is that, 64? This is a stack of tungsten steel right now. So very, very good. Very, 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 very good stuff. And then what I plan to do with that in the immediate, for starters, I need to make a lot more HSSG dust. I think I probably want to upgrade all the other 3 blast furnaces before I do anything else. So I might do that, or wait, sorry. No, I got that mixed up, didn't I? Yeah, so I guess TPV would actually be the next step if I wanted to. So either I'll upgrade all of my existing blast furnaces to TPV, which I guess I'm not actually really altered by. I would probably do my titanium line before I did that. Or I can just get the 1 blast furnace up to HSSG, which would be the Mars Rush route. So I might try to go that way. We'll see. I'm not sure. The only big blocker left, if I do want to continue with the Mars Rush, is the Quantum Eye, which I need radon for. So I am preparing for this. I went ahead and put a miner back in the nether because I'm going to need a lot more thorium, both for this and for the nuclear reactor. I'll go check on that, actually. Let's see, where did I put that? Wow, it's busy out here today. Goddamn. Actually, I should probably get some blaze rods since he's already here. Don't mind if I do, sir. Oh, somebody's pulling me all around. Oh, I'm withered. I think it's this guy. Thank you for your service. And I got no blaze rods. All right, well, that was lame. Anyways, but here's the miner. You'll note it's actually on a beryllium vein. There aren't any straight up thorium veins in the nether. You have to go to like a tier 3 planet, I think, for that. But yeah, beryllium, which I've already mined some of that before, gives thorium. So I've got it set up here. It's doing stuff. It already did the molybdenum vein previously, which was kind of a huge waste of time now that I have the B that I have. But yeah, it's getting some thorium. I think it'll probably get a lot more as it gets deeper. It's still just getting through the fluff of the vein, but yeah, that's happening. So that's what I'm doing in regards to getting radon. I think I have to, I have to do something to the thorium in order to get radon, but I'm not like too worried about that. It just seems like it's going to be a bit of an involved process, so I'm starting it sooner than later. What do you know? It finished all the operations, and I have phthalic acid left over. Wow. Anyways, whenever that's done, I always disconnect the big, scary energy stuff as to follow standard OSHA guidelines and avoid any accidental explosions. And we're back down to HV. So, bit of a jump. IV down to HV. But yeah, we got all this tungsten, and then it just processes like normal. So I just go over and throw it into the processing line, and before you know it, there's tungsten dust down in the chest. I think I took it out already, actually. Yeah, so I have a bunch of tungsten steel. A bunch, I say, 24. But I will have a bunch, and it'll just keep piling up. So that is the state of things. This is how the HV factory floor is looking these days. It's got quite a bit of random cables and pipes. Why are these here? Oh, they're fluid conduits. I guess I just didn't want them, so I threw them up here. I thought they were items, but no. If they were item, I would take them. Yeah, it's looking pretty cool. I still think the plat line is the coolest thing I've got up here. But yeah, I think now I really need to get a bunch of titanium. It seems like that would be a good thing to focus on for a bit. I have thought about making a dedicated titanium automation, so I might end up doing that just because I need so much of it. But one thing to note is on the way to the Quantum Eye quest is the EV chemical bath, and this advanced ilmenite processing quest line, which I took a look at, actually seems really good, and even gives tantalum. Like, I like getting tantalum. I need that for a lot of stuff. So I'm probably gonna go down this quest line for a little while, because once I have that, I mean, the rest is, you know, just whenever I want to do it, really. I didn't realize that rushing Mars would pretty much just be hitting IV, because I, again, am not trying to hit IV. I just want easier tungsten steel. Although now, it's actually pretty easy for me to make tungsten steel, so titanium's kind of the bigger thing that I want to make simpler. Speaking of which, isn't there titanium ore on Mars? Okay, there are small veins on Mars and Deimos, whatever it's called. So that still might be worth it, because I can just get both of these materials for pretty much free then. Because once I have titanium in large supply and tungsten steel in large supply, then I can actually look at making my permanent big boy setup in the PDIM. But it's been a week for me since I talked about it, but I know you guys just listened to me talk about all that like 10 minutes ago probably, so I won't go on about it again. But yeah, I got decisions, man. I got a lot to think about, but regardless, I'm pretty happy with how things are going. I think I have a good grip on what the GTNH loop is now, at least for the time being. I'm sure it gets more complicated, but it seems to be very EBF material centric. You're just always trying to upgrade these things, and then you unlock cool little other things along the way and do automations and whatnot. So I like it. It's cool. I feel slightly less lost. And nothing exploded from all the stuff that I talked about today. So that was a victory as well. No booms. But anyways, I don't think it's going to be very fun for me to like record doing these things. This seems like a I'll show you when it's done type of deal. And then as mentioned, the nuclear stuff is still sitting here quietly in wait. I don't want to make it until I have my Lapatronic supercapacitor ready to go, which by the way is now fully within reach with my tungsten steel being solved as it is. It will just be a lot of stuff, but we could be quite close to making this now. I'll probably do some math, see what all this will require. There's quite a few casings. Seems like around 46 casings or so, and then the actual capacitors. I'm not sure how hard the glass is. I probably could do this today, honestly. We'll see. I don't know. I'll keep playing after I finish this, and if I finish this this recording, that is, if I end up making this today, I'll come back and record it again. But probably this will be next week, potentially. We'll see. I don't know. Anyways, but thank you guys for watching. I have zero idea how long this episode is going to be. Hopefully, it's not super boring. But I appreciate it. Thank you for waiting. Sorry, I missed 2 or 3 weeks, whatever it was. But you know, life happens, and it will continue to happen sometimes. So that's how it is. But yeah, appreciate it. Maybe like the video if you want. And yeah, I guess that's about it. So I'll see you later. Meow.